Hi, I'm Gina Barrett, a program director at the Consortium for Public Education. Today I'm here with Anthony Joseph, the Apprenticeship and Training Coordinator at Bricklayers Local 9. Anthony, thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me, Gina.
Oh, well, can you tell us a little bit about your apprenticeship program?
Yeah, so at the Bricklayers Local 9 PA, we have a 4-year apprentice program. You'll earn as you learn, as everyone likes to call it, which means as you're working out in the field, you'll be doing your apprenticeship, your 144 hours of training. We call it classroom time, but it's more of a hands-on time. Bricklaying, tile setting, stonemasonry, they're all hands-on skills. So we spend a lot of time in the training center developing that skill set and doing the necessary steps that they would need to learn to become journeymen over their 4 years. So 144 hours of training a year and 1,500 hours of, we call it on-job training, will get you a year of credit for the program. So most students do that in 4 years, and upon the 4 years, you will become a journey worker. So that's the goal for us, is to bring you in as an apprentice and get you out into our workforce as a journey worker. That's my goal, and that's what my job is. When joining the apprentice program for BAC Local 9, we have a few steps that you would take. We have what we call an aptitude test and an interview. The aptitude test is a lot of basic math. It is a lot of reading a tape measure. And the reason why our aptitude test is geared towards that is in the building trades of brick and tile and stonemasons, you do a lot of measuring, and we communicate a lot in numbers. So therefore, basic math and tape measuring are skills that you need. I don't want to say you have to have them, but you need to be able to develop them. So what we do with the aptitude test is, it's a math test. You take that test, we'll score it. Obviously, we're not looking for Albert Einstein, just somebody with some basic math skills. So, and I tell the apprentices, I know how stressful taking a test can be. If you don't test well, we allow you to retest as many times as need to be, and we test all year long. We're not like some unions where you only get to test in once a year. And I also have some wiggle room with the testing. So that is step one. And then what will happen is I will interview you. And the interview is basically for both of us. It's for me to get to know you, and it's for you to get to understand a little bit better what's going to be expected of you when you go out into the field and work. So things like your traveling, where you're going to work in the county, just basic things to help you understand what you're getting involved with. So before you make that commitment, you can kind of figure out if that fit is right. So those two things are standard, and we do it for all the apprentices because we have to be fair when we hire. So we try to have a fair system that's good for them, and also we have to be able to tell the contractors that this person has certain criteria. We have a very high success rate of people that come and test and interview, very high. We don't have many people that don't come through that process, but we don't offer them apprenticeships. So we have a very high turnover as far as our applicants being accepted into the apprenticeship if they come in and do the testing and the interview process.
Can you talk a little bit about some of the jobs that would be obtained by apprentices?
So Bricklayers Local 9, we have multiple career paths. So just from the trades alone, you have a bricklayer, which obviously is exterior. You build the outside of the buildings, and there are a lot of beautiful different kinds of brick and block. And if you ever pay attention to design, you might pick up on that. Stonemasons is an amazing profession. You're doing a lot of work with your hands. And if you pay attention to downtown architecture in Pittsburgh, a lot of the older buildings, the stonework, we do a lot of restoration where you actually have to recreate a lot of those looks on the buildings. I want to say sculptures or different kinds of intricate things that were designed back in those days. You have tile, which is my personal favorite because I was a tile setter, so I'm biased towards tile. Tile is an amazing trade. There is so much creativity in the design of tile work. No one job is the same in any of our trades. I always would get a set of prints from an architect or a design firm, And I got to bring that vision to life. And at the end of the day, you would walk back and say, I did that. And every day you can step back and you see what you're creating. And it's a very gratifying, self-gratifying feeling. It's a very demanding job. It's very challenging, but it's so rewarding in so many ways because the designs that you're dealing with, or the different kinds of architecture that you run into in different jobs, different job sites. And I always tell the students when I get to see you guys in person that I always say, don't ever undersell yourself as a tradesman. When you step back and you look at how important we are to society, I built schools. I built Heinz Field. I worked at Heinz Hall. I've worked in restaurants. I've worked in so many different forms of society for different ways that society functions. Society doesn't function without the finished trades. It doesn't function at all without any of the trades, but it's so neat to do a big project and to walk away from it and then come back to it and see what you created. And in a finished trade, you see it, where a lot of the other trades, you don't see it because it's behind the walls or in the ceiling. So I always enjoyed the fact that at the end of the day, I could see what I've created. And I think in our trades, that's one of the most satisfying feelings that we get from what we do every day.
What makes someone a good fit for your trade? What's going to make them thrive in the training that you provide?
The first thing that we always say, and it's the most basic, is just showing up every day is the first thing you will ever hear a guy in the field say makes you a good worker. So when we go back to when we talked about having a driver's license and reliable transportation, the reason why we ask that of you is we know you need to show up every day to be successful. People depend on you. You have a foreman, you have an owner, the guy beside you. A lot of your work isn't done by yourself. It's intertwined with other people. So when you show up every day and the people around you can count on you, that helps with that job site be productive. And obviously you're going to be productive. So that will be the number one thing almost across the board that you will hear. The second thing that I always like to say is you have to be open-minded. Okay. You are working with a lot of men that have done this for a lot of years, men and women that have a lot of experience, and they're trying to teach you a skill, which it takes time. You're an apprentice. We understand that. No one expects you to have the skill set from day one. That's why you do an apprenticeship. But you have to be willing to be open-minded to, to being taught. Sometimes that involves constructive criticism. You'll get a data boy or, way to go. That's not always the case, right? But you just have to be open-minded to being taught and the learning. And I would say just being personable as far as being who you are. A lot of people come into a situation, they may be scared or intimidated, but just be yourself. And I always say the other thing I always tell apprentices too is don't be afraid to say you don't know something, or don't take on something that you're not sure you can do. It's okay to not know. So, because once again, at the end of the day, if you show up, if you're willing to learn and you're willing to work hard, if you do those three things, you're going to get to where you need to get to. I will get you to day one. We always say this here. I will train you. I will give you everything you need to be successful, but I can't do it for you. You have to want to show up and do it. But I promise you, I will give you everything you need to be successful.
Well, Anthony, thank you so much for being with us today and sharing all of this information.
Oh, it was a pleasure, Gina. Thanks for having me.